What's going on here? Former Patriot, Super Bowl 51 champ Geno Grissom here. You're listening to Boston's Big Three presented by Ride the Wave Media.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Boston's Big Three, episode 59, 59. Episode 59, Boston's Big Three, presented by Ride the Wave Media. Today, we are sponsored by Petez Pop. Petez Pop, located on 151 Benefit Street in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Petez Pop has the world's most exotic chips, candy, and soda under one roof. Check out their Instagram, Petez Pop. That's PETEZPOP for the wide selection, or you can place an online order at petezpop.com. Also, on today's show, we are giving away not one, but two $50 gift cards to Mass Vintage. You can check out massvintage.com for more information, but we're going to give that away. We're going to do it about halfway to 3/4 away. I'll be picking two winners from Instagram. People out there that are listening, if you enter into these giveaways, they're very, very simple. All we ask you to do is subscribe to Boston's Big Three and just comment to show that you subscribe to it. If you do that, it's simple to enter because only a few people entered on this, and you're going to have a better chance of winning a $50 gift card. Today's episode, we wanted to step back a little bit. And I know that we've been kind of crushing it with like having different athletes coming on and this and that. But I think today's is about it's a little story time. And we wanted to get somebody on this podcast that can paint us a picture because he literally is the CEO over the TD Garden. I mean, this individual has built such a legacy and became a legend that you had to know him to understand what was going on. But now the cat's kind of out of the bag. It's been out there. He went viral for this, Game 7 Stanley Cup, getting on the ice, and you get to see some of the cool stuff. And the magician today is going to reveal his secrets to everybody out there. And this is what we wanted to do. We have on our podcast today none other CEO of the TD Garden, Timothy King. Timmy, what's going on?
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to just jump right into it. We're almost at the 1-year anniversary mark of Game 7, Stanley Cup, St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins. So last year, for those who are living under a rock that have no idea about this, last year, Boston Bruins made it to Stanley Cup. It's Game 7. Timmy King has the bright idea of, you know what? Tickets are very expensive. I'm going to get myself in that garden for free. I'm going to get myself on the ice, no matter who wins that game, and I'm going to hoist the Stanley Cup over my head. And he exactly did that. Now, we've heard stories in the past of other people crashing Super Bowls or crashing World Series and sneaking in this. But I have never really seen anybody actually go on the field or go on the ice in this case and actually hold up the trophy in a game 7, those words, game 7 in sports, one of the best words you'll ever hear. The fact that you have the balls to do that, the fact that it paid off, and the fact also you're wearing a Ride the Wave Media shirt. I like that as well too. So Timmy King, what we want you to do here in the next maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, talk to us. Explain to us how you did this. Talk from the day you woke up, when you got out of bed, or even a couple of days before that, of how you had this set up, how you had to accomplish it, how you got into the garden, how you handled yourself during the game, and how you got down to the ice, and how you ended up holding up that trophy. Go right ahead. Tell us.
All right, perfect. So basically, I'm gonna start a few days prior to when it happened, and then go heavy into the day that everything happened. So game 1 of the series was in Boston, and they had some sort of watch party. And I went there. I didn't think much of it. Nothing crazy. Bruins won that game. It was great. But there were media people walking all around before the watch party, which was before the game, and they had these media passes, and some were different. Some were red, some were blue. I think there was a yellow one as well. And there were different types of media passes. And I looked, didn't think much of it, but in my head, I immediately thought I can definitely make that. I can create that. It wouldn't be too hard, and I think I could make it legit enough that I could use it for whatever it's used for. So at no point did I know what the having a pass would entail, but I knew it would get me something. There was something to do. So the next home game in Boston, which would have been game 2, I went in front of the Garden, and kind of scoped it out, and was just looking at, because there was always events during the series, because huge, Stanley Cups in Boston, like obviously a huge deal, and they had like media casts outside, like sports casts, the concerts. I think they had a concert outside, and all the media people before the game started, before they let anyone in the building, were all buzzing around, like interviewing people, taking videos, panning everything, and I got close enough to one of them, and I just snapped a picture of the pass, and then I went home and got to work. So now fast forward to the day of the game. I kind of had a plan. I had a few friends involved. I told some people that I was going to try to, pull something, and I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just knew I wanted to do something. So I went to Staples that day. I had my pass like made on the internet. Like I made it on Photoshop, but I didn't have a hard copy yet. And I made a hard copy, and this is about like 10 a.m. Came out pretty good enough for me. And I made the red one because the red pass was what I saw the most of. They're all media passes, just different colors, so they entail different things. Then I was gonna leave my house around 4, get into Boston by 5, and just see what I could do from there. My one of my close friends, Connor, texted me at like, I don't even know, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and he said, "There's more people with blue passes today," and he sent me a picture. The light blue passes. So went on Photoshop, changed the red to blue really quickly, flew to Staples, got it printed out, got it laminated, flew back home, cut them out, and I was like, I'm gonna bring both, see what happens. So I went into Boston with a bunch of friends, and had both passes, and from there is where it really started happening. So I knew I had to get into the building to use the pass, and I knew if I went through where the media was going through, there had to be some sort of list or some sort of check-in. And I was also wearing shorts and a t-shirt, the Ride the Wave Media t-shirt, and just shorts. Like all the media people had suits on. So.
White socks up there. Like,
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. This kid rolls up in shorts and a t-shirt and gets in.
I wasn't really thinking right there. Definitely would have been a better suit. So before they let people in, there's all these events outside, and they had all the sports broadcasters and all the filmers. And a lot of the filmers had NHL media on them, so I knew they were going into the game after, obviously. So out of a pure mindset, pure just, I should do this, I spoke to one of the guys, and I slipped him some cash, and I said, "Hey, any chance you can get me in?" And he snuck me in with all his, I'll say, utilities and supplies and all his stuff that he's bringing in. Got in, opened it up, let me out, and I was in the building. And that's when I kind of hid. I don't want to say I hid, but I went all the way up to the balcony section. I didn't even sit down. To be honest, I didn't watch any of that game.
First of all, it's like you're a Trojan horse. Like you're getting put in a little
I didn't
box.
know that part.
You get like a little Trojan horse that you're going right in. That's awesome. And then in terms of watching the game, screw it. Like you have the media passes. You're just in there, and you're just like not even thinking about the game. You're thinking about what can I accomplish off of this.
Yeah, I didn't want to go and sit down and watch the game because I knew I would get caught. I knew it had to be sold out. Stanley Cup Game 7, it's sold out. So that's out of the picture for me. And I also knew I wanted to use my pass, and I didn't know what I would get. Thinking that day, I was thinking, oh, I get in, and I'll try to get to where they interview the players after the game. That would be cool. So I walked around basically the whole entire game. I was walking around the balcony section, and then I'd go down to Loge, and then at one point, my buddy who actually had tickets had a wristband for the club section, and he tossed me it because he knew what I was doing. So I'm just walking around with a camera that I don't know how to use. I don't know how to use cameras. My friend just gave me his. I'm walking around the club section, just going section to section to section, walking around. So I try not to seem suspicious. Like I'm trying to basically hide but blend in at the same time. And the game finally ended. The Blues won, and that's when I went down to the media area. I waited for the game to end because I figured there'd be a huge rush of people, and I'd kind of blend in more. And I got right in. There was no questions asked in the media section.
How much media was there, like,
there
waiting?
Was a lot. So under the Garden, under the stands, it's usually pretty like plain, pretty empty. And they had all these pop-up like computer stations and media stations, all these live streams. It was a legit setup, and there was a lot of like media people going where I eventually went. And then so I'm just walking around, checking things out, taking videos with my phone, and I had AirPods in the whole time. And whenever anyone would even give me a look, I'd pretend to be on a phone call. And I think that was one of the best ideas I had that day. So I saw a sign. I forget exactly what it said, but it said "On Ice Media, line up here," basically. And I have a video of that. And so I just hopped in the line. I really didn't expect much, and I had my red at this point. I had the red media pass on, and I'm standing in line, and I see everyone has the blue one, and I had the blue one on underneath my shirt. So I just did a quick swap, had the blue one on. We had to wait about 30 minutes, just standing there, and that's when I really just didn't know what was happening. And I also had to catch the train home, and all my friends were waiting for me outside. And I drove like 5 kids to the train station. So I'm like, do I go? Like, is this just pushing it too much? What am I even waiting in line for? Like, am I just going to get caught when I get to the front of the line? So I was about to leave. I actually got out of line, and then the line started moving. It was a miracle for me that happened. And I hopped back in line. Asked the guy that was in front. I was like, hey, can I hop back? And you saw me just step out. He was like, yeah. So the line starts moving, and I see there's a person at the front of the line checking passes, just looking at them, and sending people different directions. Some people are going left, some people going right, some people going on the ice. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to get sent somewhere if he looks at my pass and says, oh, this kid's legit, and sends me somewhere. And I don't know what my pass is supposed to be, so I don't know where I'm going. And I get to the front, and he points me onto the ice. And that's when the adrenaline for me started really kicking in, and I really didn't know where I was going to go, and I had to just go roll with the punches and see what happened. So I'm shaking at this point. I take my phone out. I'm taking a video of myself walking down this red carpet to get onto the ice. And you can see in the video, I was just, the hand shaking and everything. Yeah. Can't control that. And I get on the ice. And at that point, it's the coolest thing ever. I know, like, I immediately actually FaceTimed my dad when I got on the ice, because he knew that I was going into Boston that day, try to get in the game. And he loves this kind of stuff. So I FaceTimed him. He sadly was asleep. I took a few pictures, sent them to like family members, and then I just started getting like close to the players. I was like, okay, like, and I blew up my Snapchat story as well. I was posting everything. But I was like, oh, cool, like I can get close to the players. I interviewed one of the players, don't even know his name. I didn't interview him. I just asked him like 2 questions just so I could try to get a picture with him without him asking. And then after like I took a few videos of the players, I'm like, this is really cool. My thought was, okay, so when they all go in the locker room, I'm gonna go in the locker room. But until then, I gotta just look legit, blend in, and have some fun as well. So at this point, I'm just following the Stanley Cup. Wherever that's getting passed, that's where I'm going, because you want to be near the trophy. It's the most iconic trophy in sports history, arguably, but I really think a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I'm following the cup, no big deal. And then I notice less and less people are following the cup, and they're all just with their family now, and they're talking with each other. Less and less people have it. It's just getting passed around. This had to be the second rotation, maybe even third, that the cup's going around. And then I'm blanking on his name, but the backup goalie has the cup, and there's like 4 people, and there's like camera people, like obviously recording it and everything, but there's very, very minimal people around him, and there's no players that look like they're waiting for the cup next. And I had a mind blank here. There was absolutely nothing going through my head, and I still to this day cannot explain why or how I thought of this and did this. But with just pure adrenaline and just no thinking, I went up to him, and I pointed to a group of players. Didn't even say a specific name. I said, "Hey, I'm his brother," and I pointed at like a group of like 4 or 5 players. And then I didn't even like ask for the cup. I just held my hands out, and without hesitation, he gave me the cup, and somebody else had that I was with that I knew had their phone, and I just I held the cup up like what else am I gonna do? I have to hold it up.
Yeah.
I don't remember this, but I think I did the typical like kiss the cup and hold it up. I don't have a picture of that. I don't even have a video of me lifting it, but obviously I have a picture, and like it's 3 pictures. And first picture, you can see the backup goalie in the background, like with a weird look on his face. And that was the original picture I posted. But then the quality on that one wasn't as amazing, so the better picture's going around. But I do have that picture, and it's just he's got a weird look. But obviously nothing ended up happening. And then when I went to hand the cup off to person I was with, I don't know if they want their name mentioned, so I'm gonna try to hide as many.
Who's with you?
GRD.
GRD.
GRD, the man, the myth, the legend. And
that's another real quick. That's another thing that, and I respect it because that's another thing that no one really knows about. Is GRD was there and was on the ice and was with you. Yeah,
and I've done it without him. He really because my confidence with that. I'm young. I look old, but I'm in my mind I'm still young to these people that are around me. So he kind of helped me I was basically following him. I'm figuring things out, but at the same time, he's kind of leading a little bit, and that really boosted my confidence level.
I had no idea he was involved in that, till right now.
Yeah.
This whole time. So wait, I'm not sure how much we can go into it, but what did he do? Did he just kind of scout you out or whatever? Just
I made him a pass.
Oh, so he just got him on.
Yeah, GRD. Timmy King right here is he's the face. He's he's gonna get the glory for everything. And GRD was more in the background. And I know from experience with GRD and knowing who he is, it was something where he's it was a good humble brag for him just to be there and experience it, but he didn't want to really blow it up. And I'll get into that in a second. You finish your story.
But as I said, I couldn't have done any of that without him. I don't think. Any small change in what happened with literally anything, if he wasn't there, if something else happened, everything would have been completely different.
So you two were just running around the garden trying to hide then? Did anybody notice you guys actually? Because he's such a noticeable garden person. He's always doing the fan stuff. That's actually I think wicked shocking. The fact that you guys are so notably at the garden all the time and nobody just stopped you or anything.
He had a black Bruins jacket on too, and that didn't raise any flags.
Yeah.
We were the most underdressed people on the ice.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, so I went to pass the cup to him. And out of nowhere, Vladimir Tarasenko comes over, who name player, big player, and he just asked me for it, and GRD gave me the nod, it's his, and so we passed it off to him, and even at that time I didn't really think it was crazy. I kept thinking oh, I gotta keep going, and then there was this 5 minutes passed and no one went in the locker room, no one did anything, and I'm just standing there I gotta get out of here. I wanted to go in the locker room, but I couldn't handle anything else. I'll say couldn't handle. I just had to get out of the garden, had to get on the train, and just completely figure out what just happened. So GRD did stay. I don't know exactly where he went from there. I think he said someone recognized him when he was going to the locker room. And that's when he was he went out of there. But I had to get out, so I left. I had two friends waiting for me. They didn't believe me. Even when I showed them the picture, they didn't believe me. My brother everyone was calling me after it finally got on my Snapchat story, because at the garden it just takes forever to post.
Yeah, it takes forever.
Once it made it on, my phone just started exploding. Because everyone was paying attention to my story at that point, because I'm posting, oh, I'm in the garden, oh, I'm about to get on the ice. And then that obviously is a real
they think you're the Photoshop king, so you just Photoshopped that trophy on you. There's absolutely no way to do it.
That's another thing that I really that kind of killed me, because I do Photoshop, but that picture, there's multiple angles, multiple everything.
That photo is just so iconic, of you standing there, because even someone like me, I go to work and I show people this guy Timmy King, I talk about you quite a bit, and I'm just
I put you onto so many people from
because I'm just this kid did I'll be at the Celtics game, we'll talk about that a little bit later, and I'll be I got to go meet this person, how'd you get that? I'm Timmy King, or the Stanley Cup thing, and I remember showing people the next day, and they're how the hell did he do it? I'm I'm telling you, he just made a pass and he got down there and did his thing. In terms of the GRD thing, another thing that goes on top of it, I know that GRD posted a little bit about it, being on the ice, and some things, fans are weird. They're because the Blues won, it's oh, who gives a shit? You shouldn't be on the ice. You're a Bruins fan. Blah blah blah. People will just make fun of you for it. In terms of your case, you're not a Bruins fan. And you're not a Blues fan. You're a
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning fan. So it didn't even matter. Why are you a Tampa Bay Lightning fan?
So let me say something really quick before I get into that. That was very, very good for me because obviously live in Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. So obviously, like, I'm not gonna root against the Bruins if they're playing a team that's not the Lightning. So always gonna root for the home, like always gonna root for Boston as long as they're not playing Tampa. And it just so happened like Blues were in the finals. So obviously I would have liked to see the Bruins win. And I am a diehard hockey fan in general. But it wasn't the end of the world for me because I'm a Lightning fan. So I was able to, like, all my friends and one girl specific who went to the game with me, went into Boston with me, and she's a diehard Bruins fan. And I picked up a St. Louis Blues Championship 2020 flag off the ice, and I think a broken stick too. And I was like, oh, like, you waited for me. I have a surprise for you. And I gave her the flag, and she was very, very angry. And then that's when I realized, like, oh, like, people from Boston are still going to be like, hey, we don't really care about you doing that. The Bruins just lost.
Yeah, like some people just kind of talking shit like, oh, like, why would you host the trophy from Massachusetts like that? It's like, dude, if you were giving, like, I said this, like, say it's Celtics Lakers and LeBron comes in here and like freaking sweeps the Celtics, but you had the chance to go on the court with LeBron James and like Rondo and all those guys from an AD. And you had the chance to hoist the trophy, you're hosting that trophy. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And I'm the biggest anti-LeBron person you'll ever meet. And I'm saying it right now, 100% be on the court.
I think you're an idiot if you go out there and be like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would never go on the Super Bowl field and the Patriots lose and hoist up the Lombardi. You would do it because I'm saying that's your only time to ever do it. You're going to fucking do it.
I think if people say that, they're lying to themselves.
Yeah, 100%. If the opportunity's there, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
What made you become a Lightning fan, by the way?
So my grandfather lived in Tampa. That's not really part of it. But we were down there for a year or two. But mostly, like, the biggest thing was when I was younger, I don't remember exact age, we had neighbors move in from Tampa. And then we were in Tampa before that, like, a lot, like, for, like I said, like 2 years. And then we started, they were super into hockey. And our family was super into hockey. And we just started watching every Lightning game together. And this is when they weren't amazing. And then they started picking it up. They made the finals, and then they were doing really good in the playoffs for there was 3 years. And then the next year, I think they didn't make the playoffs at all. But I just started watching every single Lightning game. And it just, I turned into a Lightning fan, basically.
So nothing says Florida quite like hockey.
And that happens quite a bit for people from Massachusetts. Like, we have a guy, Mikey McColgan, like, he's an Indianapolis Colts fan. Like, he just grew up with Peyton Manning, and he's from Dorchester, so he just always stuck with the Colts. And you're going to have those type of people, but I respect those people because you're somebody that goes into the Garden wearing your Lightning jersey.
Oh, yeah.
You're proud to rep something like that. But at the same time, you're like, hey, I'll support the Bruins. Like, but guess what? It's like no sweat off my back if they win or lose. Like, I just care more about the Lightning. Like, and it matters more to you. Timmy, anything else from the Stanley Cup that you want to say? Like, anything that, like, so what we should talk about is you put all these videos together, and it's more at that time last year, an urban legend of you and like through your friends, maybe What's the Word Mass. Us would share it at Ride the Wave, and it just starts making its rounds, but it kind of dies down quick, and it's more of an urban legend. A year later, which was like a couple of weeks ago, it just started picking right back up. And I think because of quarantine life, all these companies are trying to find some sort of content and dig down there. And it's like, this content was already there, and you guys didn't take it last year. Can you talk about some of the different accounts or how viral it went and different things that picked it up, and just talk about that too? I think you were mad at one person for not giving you credit. Like, what just talk to us about that?
The first thing I did was I posted the picture the next day. Obviously, I'm not gonna not post that picture. That's a necessity. And a lot of people shared it. Obviously, all my friends are posting it. It did very well for my personal account, but nothing crazy. And then Jack Skelly with at the time For the Kids Media, Jack's a good friend of mine. I talked with my parents and all my friends, and we're like, should we do a video? Nothing crazy, short video. And we decided yes. I just wanted to. I felt the need to, even though it could have some risks. So we made a video. It did pretty well on YouTube, especially for
and
the channel. The channel I think had 1,000 subscribers and got 12,000 views.
Yeah.
That's it's good. And
check that out for the kids media. There's a nice clip about that too, like a 12-minute clip or something, 7 to 12 minutes.
And I was content with that. I think I don't even remember, but like a few accounts might have posted on Instagram, but nothing crazy. And I was just locally everyone kind of knew, but other than that, it didn't really go anywhere. Fast forward, I don't know, 10 months. We're in quarantine. Oh, so I've always been against TikTok until like the past 2 months or 4 months.
I feel that.
Yeah. And I made a TikTok about it and it did horrible, like 300 views. So I deleted it and reposted it. 400 views. Deleted and reposted again, like maybe 1,000 views. So I was like, all right, this isn't going to blow up on here. And then we went into quarantine. And this is early on in it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try out this TikTok thing one more time. And I think I made one about Tom Brady. Probably. I think that was it. And it got like 5,000 views. I was like, oh, my account's picking up. My account has some action to it. I'm going to throw the Stanley Cup video out there. Let's see how it does. And it's at not around 1 million, like 900,000 views on TikTok. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. But nothing really came from it. Like a few smaller Instagram accounts like reposted it and they tagged me and everything. I commented like, oh, thank you for that. And then, no big deal. And then I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, House of Highlights picked my video off TikTok. And then they DM me and said they're putting it on their TikTok. They put it on their TikTok. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And they gave me credit, but it wasn't like an actual tag because I don't know how TikTok works. I don't really care about my TikTok blowing up. So I was like, oh, cool, but they posted it. And more people are going to see it, and I like that. And I hopped in the shower. I was like, no big deal. Got out of the shower, and Eddie's like, I can't believe House of Highlights posted you. I was like, yeah, I know. Like, it's cool that it's on their TikTok. He goes, no, they posted you on Instagram. And then I know House of Highlights has 16 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think they're required to tag you if it's your content. And they tagged me, obviously. And then that's when it really started blowing up. Also, another reason why they found my TikTok was someone put it on Reddit. A random stranger put it on the NHL Reddit, and it got like 700 upvotes, which is very good for Reddit. And they picked it off there. That's the best I can assume because that was the day before. And then a bunch of hockey accounts started reposting it, all that. A few accounts didn't give me credit, and like I don't really care. It's not a huge deal, but like it's my video, it's my content. I literally made the TikTok also, so I mean it's kind of scummy not to give me credit, but like not a big deal. And then after House of Highlights posted it just everyone started seeing it, everyone started sharing it. If you are a teenager in Massachusetts that day, you saw some version of this.
I had people send it to me. I'm like, dude, I know the kid. Like, I know exactly what probably happened. You went up to the Barstool Classic to like the Spit and Chicklets guys.
Yeah.
You told them about it, I'm assuming, because they talked about it before. I know they even said in quarantine, like, Biz was like, yeah, I met the kid up in like Lake Minnesota, whatever it is.
So I met Biz there. I didn't get a chance to talk to RA, which I'm still mad about, and I still haven't talked to him. But yeah. And I talked to Biz, and I like showed him a picture. Like I just wanted to tell him because he's a hockey guy, and he's an actually like fun hockey guy, and I was like he'd appreciate it. And he was immediately like, oh, look, to his cameraman, like, hey, like record this. I'm gonna talk to this kid for a minute. And I was in one of their YouTube videos, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I guess they did talk about me on a podcast like a week after that. And I didn't hear that. But then after that video got put on House of Highlights, all hockey fans obviously started tagging them and like sending it to them. And like people were calling me RA's son because RA snuck into a celebration. And then they talked about me on their podcast that day too. And that's pretty cool because, you know, these people that you look up to and these people that are like I'll say impossible to touch just because they're like, you know, they're like icons in the sports world and people listen to them daily and hundreds of thousands of people listen to them and they're talking about you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's a good feeling too because it's like something you've done in the past.
Yeah.
And it's starting to come back out there. And yeah, it's like a little 15 minutes of fame again and you capitalize off of it. But it's a good feeling to be like, yo, my hard work still paid off. And it's still like adds to my legend of who I am.
It didn't go unnoticed.
I saw something when you like blew up the second time about it. You said like something on your Snap story, and I remember I slid up on it. You were like, "Hey, everybody stop like telling me what to do. I see the vision. I know what I'm doing. I see your vision. Like I know exactly what you're doing." But like it's like me and Baz, we were talking about this on a couple episodes ago. The traditional media ways out the door. Like freelancers are kind of thriving right now because you can do whatever you want. With that, like information and all that stuff, how in quarantine have you been keeping relevant? I know you said you have a YouTube video kind of explaining this coming out, what, June 12th? You want to talk more about that? And then just kind of like what you're doing freelance during quarantine.
So June 12th, I'm releasing a YouTube video, like really diving into it with all the videos, any proof I have. I'm breaking it down, like it should be a 20-30 minute video, and I'm really going to break down into small detail everything that happened that day to the best extent I can. And that's going to be on the 1 year anniversary. But with the quarantine stuff and with what I'm doing after, because my account blew up obviously from that post, and during quarantine I can't really do much to get content. I can do kind of small things on my computer, like this and that, whatever, but I can't be going to, like, for example, Red Sox games and doing what I do, and which I plan on doing. I can't be. I'd like the finals, the playoffs. The playoffs should be right now. I can't do any of that. So what I decided on my Instagram, I've been just posting stories and personal stuff, like what I like to post, just stupid things. And I haven't posted a picture or video since that day that happened. I just reposted the video that I made. That's like sitting on 30,000 views on my account or something. But I decided I don't want to post anything until I have a very good post. And I lost like 500 followers or something, maybe a little more. Because I've just been posting like stupid stories.
Activity or whatever.
Yeah, but that's me. Like I'm posting my stuff, and I don't want, like, I know people are gonna unfollow me once, like, and if I let it out now, I'm just showing them like, yeah, I post this stuff too, and like obviously not everybody's gonna like this or think it's funny or think it's entertaining. So I like the fact that I'm losing those followers now. So when I actually have something big to post, I regain everyone that didn't unfollow me. They're back into it, and then it can start spreading again.
Mm-hmm. It's tough times in the streets of this sports life when you're trying to scrape at the bottom of the barrel, when you're beefing with your best friend on Instagram, getting a few views and likes off of that, or you're just trying to live in your glory days. I mean, for us, like here, it's like for me personally, it's podcasting, and I really wanted to focus on this, and this was a great time to do it. And I can't wait till sports are back so we can get back out there. A lot's lost, Timmy. Like we both know it for the playoffs for both Bruins and Celtics, and even Tyler should know that because there's so much planned. There's so much that you can do. Like Tyler said, the freelancer right now can really get out there. And what's cool about the Massachusetts group is, even with myself or GRD or you, Timmy King, or For the Kids Media, or What's the Word Mass, or any of you, even LFG Sports was around. Like you could capitalize on a lot of stuff individually, and there's a kind of a close group. And even though everyone's kind of doing their own thing, it's all kind of supportive at the end of the day because you want to all see each other just blow up. You know what I mean? That's the goal, and it's fun to do that and tell stories and shit like that. What I liked about your story too, even though you were with GRD, it's just doing things on your own. Like just go out there and do it. I think being by yourself or having one extra person with you that you can trust, like you can get into a lot of different situations. And I know GRD, like. Wow, Babs is speaking so highly of him. But it's just we got into – I mean, when we were down in Atlanta for the Super Bowl and we were at Shaq's Funhouse and we snuck up to the VIP area and we met Pat Mahomes. I showed him the tattoo and, like, we met Travis Kelce. Like, it's just, like, you got to shoot your shot. And and anybody out there, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You get kicked out. And if you do get kicked out, take the L and just move on. Do not engage. Just disengage and just see you later and just pick it up because guess what? Yeah, you could be made fun. You might be like, oh, people are gonna make fun of me. This and that.
Well, Tyler Miller's special, dude. Loses the mic, makes fun of me every
Tyler
episode.
Miller special there. But yeah, you can take the L and then just bounce back. You know you're gonna end up getting that. I want to move on from the Bruins, and I want to talk more about the Boston Celtics. I want to talk about concerts. I mean, this isn't just so. People that have just listened to you for the last half an hour have been like, oh, this is just a one and done. Timmy King's been doing this for a long, long time. Like this has been, that was just one of the the top moments that are out there,
Oh,
like the top three.
Yeah.
Three moment. Can you talk to us? And you don't have to reveal all your secrets about Celtics and concerts. I'd rather have you talk about what are some of your. We'll break them down in two parts. We'll start with Celtics first. What are some of your biggest moments with the Celtics in terms of people you met and situations you've got into? I remember one of the funny situations, and I'll tell the story, is that we all went to the game, and it was the Celtics versus the Pistons this past year, and we're just and there's a lot of rumors going around about Andre Drummond coming over to the Boston Celtics. So Timmy King just is like, he's with us after the game, post game. You have post game passes. You can wait. Some players come, some don't. And Timmy's like, you know what? I'm going to go down to the tunnel. You just walk down there. Classic Timmy King, gets his phone out, just walks down there. Security ignores you completely. You're waiting in the tunnel. Everyone in the stands, there's like 25 of us, are just looking at you, giggling. And he's just there. And then you see him getting up closer to Andre. And Andre's like hanging out around the basket. And he's got family and friends. And Timmy's just on the outside looking around like on his phone. I remember you said something. And the entire group down there just looked at you like, who the fuck are you? And I think, and it's like you wanted to get a picture. And we all had to we all got kicked out because they're like, you guys have to leave, like it's over, and you're still down there, and you're still down there, and eventually you did get a picture, I believe, with Andre Drummond. So
too, which was cool.
Talk about that situation, but then talk about other situations in the Celtics that you've had.
Okay, so with post game, I get those passes from someone who works with the Celtics that we know, like my dad knows him, and basically you can wait around after the game, and some players come out, some don't. And if you get lucky, you get a picture of the player. And the worst that happens is you hang around a little bit in the garden and watch them take apart the court. So I really wanted a picture with Andre Drummond. Great player. So I was like, my goal today is to get a picture with Andre Drummond. And he actually came out post game, but he didn't come to the stands, which is where he needs to go if I were to get a picture. And he went on the court and brought his family over there. And that's when everyone kind of realized, we're not going to get a picture with him. And then for some reason, I just go like, you know what? I'm going to try to go up into the stands, back down to Legends, and then through the players' tunnel and just walk onto the court, stand around him, and figure it out from there. So what I did was, as you said, my classic move, the fake phone call, walk through the tunnel, no questions, walk past everyone that's supposed to be looking, and, no questions. I'm just on the phone, And they know me, so sometimes I think they just think I belong there. So I walked onto the court, and he's with his whole. They're all family members, which I didn't notice at the time. And I'm at this point, I think my brother might have called me, and he was with you guys, and he's like telling me a bunch of stuff, like do this, and I'm trying to pretend like I'm not on the phone with him, and I can't be oblivious because I'm right next to these people. So I'm like, yeah, and I hung up, put my phone away, or I probably had it in my hand. And I remember, I think I just go, he stopped talking for a second. I go, hey, can I get a quick picture? And he goes, man, who the fuck are you? Why are you here? And I go, I just got this pass, and they let me on the court. And he goes, all right, yeah, I got you with one later. And then they started getting into, and I think he got picked up by another team 2 weeks later. But they started getting into that, and he looked at me and said, hey, back away a little bit. I was like, that's how it's going to be. I get that. And so, he gets done with his family. Staff starts kicking people out. They start leaving. I got a quick picture with him. And I was about to leave, and I said, hey, we'd love to have you in Boston. Or you'd look, I might have said you'd look good in green. And he said something along the lines of, yeah, a lot of people would. I thought that was pretty cool because I just got, inside information, and I'm just a normal kid just trying to have fun,
Yeah.
So yeah,
he said that in a recent interview with Mixtape that they just talked to him, and he said he always has the most family go to the Celtics games because the UConn connection and all that. So I'm the fact that you got a picture with him, and you're probably the most amount of family that ever goes to this game. Yeah. Here you are, just pulling out his shirt, hey, can I get a picture? Yeah. That's just funny.
Yeah.
What are some other moments at Celtics games that you've run into? I mean, we've seen a picture of you with Paul Pierce. Another thing with Celtics games that's big with you. you met Robert Kraft at Celtics game. I think you met Roddy Rich at a Celtics game. I mean, the Celtics games always bring out the celebrities, and it's a lot easier than it is a Bruins game probably because usually Bruins games are probably up in the box, whereas in terms of Celtics game, they're courtside and they go right into that tunnel area. So what are some of those moments that you've been down there and met some people? Good and bad.
Yeah, so definitely one of my favorite ones is Kevin Durant. I don't think you guys know this about me, but Kevin Durant's one of my favorite players in the NBA. He probably is, other than Terry Rozier.
Great top two, phenomenal.
Yeah,
the Terry Rozier Kevin Durant combo, that's unreal.
Very weird, but also obviously like I love all the Celtics players. I met Jason Tatum countless times. I have a picture with I'd say almost all the Celtics players, but Kevin Durant, I had a media pass that day. Obviously whipped one up. And it was Kevin Durant when he was on the Warriors. So it was like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and I got close to all of them. I got a picture with I forget who I even got a picture with, but I got a picture with Kevin Durant, and he's in his full jersey, full uniform, and it's just a selfie with me and Kevin Durant, and it's just a funny picture, but it's one of my favorite pictures because Kevin Durant's just such an iconic player to me, and that was really cool. But some other moments, I'll do non-player related, like Robert Kraft. I've bumped into him like 4 times there, just hanging out in the area where the courtside people go. I just hang out there during halftime or after the game, and I've met Robert Kraft 4 times. I think I've gotten a picture with him 3 times.
Does he recognize you now?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, Donnie Wahlberg, he's an easy one at Celtics games. Countless players, and then Roddy Rich, which the Roddy Rich one was a pretty crazy one to get because at the time his song "The Box" was like #1. Everyone knew the song. Like it's been #1 for the past month. He had a concert after the game or halfway through the game. He was going to leave and go to his concert at the venue right next to the Garden. So all eyes are on him in the outside world because of his music, and in the Garden because he's got a concert right next door. He's sitting courtside. He's got all his chains on. He's got sunglasses on. They put him on the Jumbotron. I'm like, oh, Roddy Rich is at the game. That's really cool. So he was courtside. And I start thinking, like, I take out my phone. I have my ticket. I went on Instagram and changed up the colors and, like, threw a different type of ticket on it. So it said I was sitting next to him. And
convenient.
So I made my way down there. And I think like maybe 2 minutes into the third quarter, I'm standing there. There's a picture of me that I found on the Celtics fan cam. And I'm sitting in the corner, probably like 10 feet behind him, pretending to be on the phone. And when his people, like his security guards and friends got up, he got up with them. And it was kind of like an entourage of 10 people. And obviously the Garden security was like all around them too, making sure no one was like trying to get in with them or like bother them like I was trying to do essentially. Now, I look like an older guy. I'm a big dude. I got a beard. I wouldn't say I look like a security guard, but I can kind of blend in with them. And that wasn't even my thought. I wasn't trying to do that. But when I kind of shifted to the right, and I also had like a concert shirt on, and one of his security guards, actually the same exact shirt I have on right now, he had like a kind of shirt similar to mine. And I kind of hopped in with them, and then I was just in the group, and no one and it was an accident. I was trying to get a picture of them, like when you can see all the fans, but I'm walking through like the cement tunnels in the Garden, and it's literally Garden security guards, Roddy Rich, and his friends, and that's it. And then I was like, okay, I'm screwed if we keep going. I'm gonna get caught, or when they leave, I can't leave, obviously. So I was like, all right, let me just ask him. I was like, hey, Roddy, can I get a quick picture? He's like, yeah, you can take one while we're walking. I took a picture with him. I go, hey, like, obviously, like, have a good concert. Welcome to Boston, and that's a new venue. Enjoy it. And that was the.
You probably could have kept walking to the concert and just go on stage with him at that point. It sounds like you were just part of it. They adopted you. They adopted you into their entourage.
Yeah.
I
was really happy with that.
Real quick, we're going to do the Mass Vintage giveaway of 2 $50 gift cards. Number 1 winner right now is going to be Jake.McMahon_ Jake McMahon. You've won $50 to Mass Vintage. The other $50 is The Greg Inc. Both on IG. You both Follow us. We appreciate it. We know you're both listeners out there. Subscribe to Boston's Big Three. Make sure you check out these giveaways. What you guys got to do, Jake and Greg, just send me a DM. Say that you've won. Claim your prize. That's what we're going to do. Timmy, moving on from Celtics to concerts, you've done a lot of different concerts over your time as well, too. Getting into those concerts and getting other people into those concerts, having VIP wristbands, getting you down in those pit areas and whatnot. What are some of the top concerts you've been to?
So with concerts, I've always loved music. I've always loved concerts. And then when I started getting into the whole Photoshop thing and, messing around with passes and sneaking around a little bit, that's when I really took advantage of that with concerts, because concerts are just so much easier to, get what you want out of a concert. So, I did a few backstage, and I got legit backstage for them. And I would just send an email, like a professional looking email saying, hey, local filmer, local this, local that. And I'd bring a camera. I don't know how to use a camera. Like, I don't use cameras, but I'd bring one. If they obviously emailed back and were like, yeah, come. I got that for, Lil Mosey, Lil TJ, and a couple others, but those are the bigger names. Like they're pretty big names in the music industry, for at least the rap music industry. And then some like crazy concerts that I've done with big numbers and kind of finessing everything. You can most venues they give floor ticket people paper wristbands, and it'll be a certain color. And so what I did, after noticing this, after 3 or 4 concerts, that I've got a wristband, and with the help of a few of my friends, obviously, we bought 300 of each color on Amazon. And what I'd do is I'd wear pants with a bunch of pockets and just throw them in a pocket because they're paper, so they won't get, or I'd just put them in my socks. And what I'd do is we'd go in, we'd figure out the color. All you got to do is get close to the floor and look, go to the bathroom, throw them all on, and then we're good. And then if I had extras, I'd sell them in the bathroom. And I did this for countless. I got 10 people with the cheapest tickets. We just buy the cheapest tickets at that point, and then have the best tickets with just the piece of paper. And I did that for I did 10 people at Juice World. That was actually a year ago today. At I'm not going to say the venues, but I did that at Juice World. I did that 3 times with the Travis Scott tour, and a ton more. It's just countless, but
the key word that you're saying, finesse. Like you're just finessing. Yeah. It's just that's what it is, and you're just taking advantage of a system. It's a way that anybody would do the same thing. If you can see that and you're trying it, and you have failed in the past, and you have, but you've also succeeded plenty of times too, and you're having fun with it. It's another adrenaline rush and thrill. Like you're not supposed to be there, and you end up getting to experience something that the person next to you in that pit probably paid thousands of dollars just to be there. Exactly. You were there for literally a fraction of that cost to be down there.
It makes shows a lot better too. But it also can ruin for me, because in the future, when I'm a dad, am I supposed to feel I can't enjoy just buying that stuff but
the whole point of going to a concert is to sneak in now.
Yeah.
Not even to the concert.
But also, you said I failed a few times, succeeded a bunch. Well, failing's a good thing sometimes, because you learn mistakes and can completely adjust. For I have 2 very good examples for this, really quick. Boston Calling last year, huge music festival at Harvard. 3-day festival. 3-day passes are $600. 1-day passes are $300. Whatever day you want to go. I can't pay that, man. Come on. So what we did was, the only day me and my friends all wanted to go was day 3, because that's when Travis Scott was performing, and he's my favorite artist. So what we did was, me and 2 others, my friend Kish, who I met on the Travis Scott tour, he's from New Jersey. Me, Kish, and my friend Brandon all went day 2 just to scope it out, figure it out. None of us have bought a wristband. So we scoped it out. We tried getting in. We couldn't do it. But we figured something out, which was the passes are unlimited entry. You can scan your pass, go in, leave, and you can come back whenever. So what we did was, and I did I think 14 people. So I bought a wristband. I charged $20 per person if they wanted to get in. So I bought a wristband, and these wristbands come really loose, but when you tighten them, you cannot untighten them. So they're supposed to fit in your wrist, and you can't take it off. So what I did was I bought a wristband, and I had a friend that had one too that was already going, and I just needed his help for like a couple seconds. And what I did was I put my wristband on, tucked it into like a normal rubber wristband, scanned in. My friend scanned in behind me with his like wristband that he bought with his money, and like he bought that months in advance. And what I did was I took off the wristband, gave him it, and we cycled people in. He went out, gave it to another. We just cycled 13 or 14 people in. And that was Boston Calling. And then Rolling Loud this October was a similar situation for me because like we decided 2 days before the festival happened that we were going to go, or that I was going to go. And I went with my two friends. They had tickets. You know, I helped pay for the hotel, obviously, because I needed a place to stay. And I couldn't afford or a ticket. And my friend was like, my friend was sneaking in. So I ended up, GRD actually helped me out. He sent me some money because I was getting money the next week. And I bought a wristband. And so what happened was my friend needed to sneak in, and there was no way he was getting one. So I got in, and I called my friend, and I said, hey, I know a way in. If you can start a group chat, I can message you guys from there. Whoever needs to get in, you guys give me some money. Like I promise you go get in. And what happened was Rolling Loud New York was very unorganized because it was in New York, and it's a hard place, and it was at Citi Field. And what happened was there's rows and rows of security, and rows and rows of security to get patted down and everything, and then rows and rows to just scan your thing. But once you're in, there's crowds everywhere. So I said, all of you, which I think it was 8 of them maybe, go to the very corner. There's a fence, and then there's an empty spot where people should be scanning that's closed, like with a bar in front of it. And then there's the people scanning tickets. I said, the one with the bar, you can just step over or go under and then just bolt into the, crowd. And then no one's chasing. Yeah. No one's coming for you at a festival. Too many people. They don't care about one person, two person, whatever. And so I was waiting right there. Like I could obviously wait there. And what I did was the people I went with, I had them go ask the security person next to that booth, like 3 feet away, a question. And right when that person turned to answer them, wave in. And no questions asked. Everyone got in, no problem. And we did this both days.
What was your closest call of all time?
What about, can I tell you when I got caught one time?
Is it the t-shirts that you were selling?
Oh, this was 2016. I don't know. Not many people know the story, actually. So 2016, I never was sneaking into things, never did that. It's 2016. I go to my brother's working in Pittsburgh for the summer with my uncle, and me and my friend buy a bus ticket and go to Pittsburgh for the weekend just because we're stupid and we're bored. And Pirates weren't in town. And my brother lived 5-minute walk, or was living at 5-minute walk from PNC Park. And so he's like, okay, let's go get food. This is the first 3 hours there. And we're walking past PNC Park. I'm like, oh, like that, I want to check it out. So we get real close because PNC is a weird setup, and you can see the field from the outside before you get in. And there's no game going on, nothing crazy. But I saw it way in. It was such a small fence. I think it was movable too. So I moved that one up the stairs, and Eddie and my friend Alec were like, hey, like, I was like, come on, let's go. And so we go in, and we're in the outfield section now, and this is stupid. Obviously, we weren't thinking anything because these places have security, like even when they're not playing, especially a place like that with an opening where you can see the field. So walk down the outfield, and we self-convince ourselves that it's fine if we just hop on the field and run. So we hopped on the field, no issue, nothing bad was happening, and decided to run the diamond, and then we're gonna get out of there. Like, so, and this is it's just the weirdest story to tell because it was the first time, like, I never did anything before that, like anything crazy like that. He's sneaking in things, and we're running, and like they have like a loudspeaker there, like all stadiums have, and they're like, "Stop what you're doing, cops are on the way. We're coming down to get you. Like, stop what you're doing," basically. And so Eddie and my friend run one way, and I run another, and basically, I run up the stairs into where, like, behind home plate. I hop over that and just run up the stairs because I'm like, I got to get up to that base level to get out. And they go straight through the outfield to get up where we originally were, where they kind of know where to get out. And I ran up the stairs. Right when I got to the very top of the stairs, I ran right into a security guard. Like, they were waiting for me.
Like a net.
it was like I'm 16, like I'm not gonna like shove him away and run. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. And so I get caught. I get brought into a security room, and I actually have a picture of the security room, even though they told me like wasn't allowed to take pictures or anything. And they took a copy of my ID. They called my parents. My dad knows me. Like he pretends to be mad on the phone with the cop, like he's talking to the cops and everything. And they're explaining that I gotta have someone 18 or older to pick me up. And I don't know my uncle's phone number. My uncle's the only 18 plus person I know there, and I don't even know him well enough that he would pick me up. Like nothing against him. I don't even have his phone number. And they're like, "Where are you staying?" I don't know the address either. Like my brother just picked me up from where we were at and brought us there, so I know nothing.
I'm just in Pittsburgh.
So my brother is wearing a Celtics jersey, and then my friend was wearing generic stuff, and he's like, "You know these people that were with you?" And then I just deny everything. I'll always do that. I was like, I have no idea who they are, and they're like, "Come on," and I have no idea who they are, and they're like, "All right, well, you need someone 18 or older to pick you up. It doesn't have to be a family member, but you need someone 18 or older to pick you up, or we got to do something about it." So I take out my phone. And this was slick. This is probably the slickest thing I've ever done. I text Eddie, my brother. I say Uber, and then I call Eddie and I said, "Hey, I got caught up at PNC. They're saying I need someone 18 years or older to pick me up. Can you come help me out?" And at the time, he's like, what do you want me to do? I can't. Obviously, I'm in front of the cops, so I can't say anything. So I was like, "Okay, like thank you. Like I'll see you then." Hang up. Text him again. Uber. So he figured out what I meant. Got an Uber. Paid the guy $20. Guy came to the door where the cops were at. Guy's like, "Yeah, I'm here to pick him up." They let me out, no questions asked.
Wait, so did your brother get caught?
No.
I was gonna say, how did the security guard not believe you guys when you said you weren't related? When he's quite literally he's your twin brother, right?
Yeah, but he was already on the streets. He already got on the streets.
Yeah. All right. I thought you guys both got caught. He's like, "Do you guys know each other?" It's like, "No, we're just twins and have the same last name." My bad.
And he sent Uber driver and gave him a 20, and I got out of it.
Yeah, how was the Uber driver like? Was he just like, "What's up, man?" Like
I didn't say a word to him. Didn't say a word to him.
It was like there was like me, GRD, and T-Guns went to the NBA Finals out in Cleveland a couple of years ago, Warriors and Cavs, and it was Game 4, and we drove out there just to be like, fuck it, like there's nothing else to do. We did something similar. It was like hours before tip-off, and we're just looking around, and we do kind of the same thing. Like you try to snag on doors and see what opens, what doesn't open, and a door opened, like to get right into the stadium. So we looked at each other, and we didn't have the tickets yet to get in. So like, dude, like we could sneak in, and we're like kind of talking, like let's just go in there and hide out. We walk in, and there was 2 security officers that just happened to be on the concourse walking towards us. And we looked at them, they looked at us, and we just like walked that way. They're like, all right, we already got caught. But even at Heinz Field, when I went out there with T-Guns 2 seasons ago, there are pro shops open, which you go into the stadium, and then everything's wide open, and there's no security around. And we just walked in, we walked around the stadium and shit, and just take pictures and stuff. It's just kind of fun being inside a stadium when it's completely empty, and you're not supposed to be there. It's the adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Timmy, do you think that now that the cat's sort of out of the bag, going viral, your name's more out there and more notorious, people kind of know who you are, do you think that these arenas are going to give you a harder time? Or like, what do you think is going to come from that? Do you think there's going to be any repercussions?
I don't really think there should be too many repercussions because like obviously utmost respect to the Garden. They have great staff, great security, great place. Love the place.
Yeah, great security. Thank you for letting me come all these times and then go sneak out and go on the ice.
Like they do have great people and they're like great place and all that. And I snuck into a game last year. I don't see no harm, no foul. Like, it wasn't like I like blatantly like was disrespecting them in any way. I just had a fun time. And this was a year ago. Like 12,000 people saw it. Like the Garden must have known it a little bit. And I think everything should be fine, especially after this whole quarantine thing.
Do you think they're letting you do it? That's what I was wondering. Like they have to have seen your face there. Like, do you think they just kind of let it slide at this point, or maybe bigger games that have a little tighter?
I have my own opinion. I have my own opinion on that, and we could talk after about that.
Yeah.
Opinion.
I don't think that it's Tyler that. I think that they just seen him so many times. They just figure like he must be a somebody. Like he must be a season
maybe like a
ticket
season
holder.
ticket holder. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like maybe he's just like he owns
I
those
was just
seats or
especially
something.
wondering. Yeah, maybe like they don't know about the whole like sneaking part. Just
No,
know the
I think that they.
it's just like, oh, maybe this guy had a ticket and he just snuck onto the ice.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. If it works, it works, dude. Like, keep it up.
Timmy, you're a big Travis Scott guy. Can you tell us why you love Travis Scott so much? And you went to 3 of his concerts, you said, here in Boston. Just talk to us of your infatuation of Travis Scott, what he means to you.
Well, yeah. So last year's tour, it wasn't 3 it was 2 in Boston, 1 in Connecticut, 2 in New York, I think. I might be 1 over, but yeah, like obviously, yeah, huge Travis Scott fan, and I just love his music. I love his like attitude towards everything. He's got a pretty cool story, like how because he was just a normal kid, like obviously out of like normal household, all that, and like his mom was sending him money for books at college, but he dropped out of college already, and she didn't know that, and he was putting it towards studio time and everything, and he got picked up by I think T.I. and ended up blowing up and being himself, and I just like that he's just so different than everyone else, kind of. He just preaches himself, and he also preaches like let the kids be kids. Like obviously, like I'm 19, I'm not like a little kid, I'm not talking that way, but let the young people who listen to my music just be themselves and do what they want to do. And that's like how I feel, like, or how I think. And like listening to his music, a lot of his songs remind you of, you're like, just do you, and like,
He speaks for your generation.
yeah.
He came to Penn State, and then the very next day was the day that like the whole Kylie Jenner cheating thing blew up, and he had to cancel his like Buffalo show. He was at Penn State the night before, and the entire campus was like talking about like, oh my god, like who cheated from Penn State on like Travis Scott with Kylie Jenner. I'm like, if you think it's this person, then you're wrong. Like, but it was crazy because he canceled literally the day after like that show.
One big thing also from me going to these shows is I've met a ton of kids and like friends now from different states, and I've met 2 kids, Kish and Billy, and they just followed him his whole tour, and I met them and they stayed with me in New York, and like I linked up with them in Boston, and like I just met so many people through this, and that we all stay in contact, we're in group chats and everything. That's just really cool for me.
That's actually wild just to think in my mind that someone would, it's kind of like groupie, not really, but to follow somebody on their tour and say you did the entire United States tour with that concert, like all summer long. That's actually, it's similar in sports. Like if you follow a team around, like the Patriots, you go to every game. It's like the same thing, but doing concerts is like a whole different beast because that's those are long days. Yeah. Those are long days, sometimes back-to-back days, and the traveling is like small time in between. So that's actually awesome. Did you ever consider doing something like that, like going on like a tour?
Not a full tour. I wouldn't be able to do that. I need to sleep in my own bed. But my friend Kish specifically. He actually came over from India to go to college here at Rutgers, I believe, and he like got obsessed with Travis Scott, started going show to show, like finding a way, like taking buses, having people help him out, sneaking in, like he'd always buy the cheapest ticket and sneak onto the floor. Like he's very, very good at finessing. Like we have the same, and we talk about this all the time because he's very smart with it, and like we like bounce ideas off each other. And he did it at the point where he was going to every show, every festival, couch surfing with whoever would have him. He started building a following on Instagram, and he went to every festival last year that Travis was at, almost every stadium show, and then he even went to overseas to the Europe show. And that's crazy. It's just, you love seeing that.
Yeah, that's just a ton of money. I don't think I could do it financially.
No, but he financially figured it out. He didn't have a job. He's a broke college kid.
He finessed.
And, and he's just, whoever can help him with a ride, whoever can help him with a place to stay, people would help him out. He'd finesse in any way, shape, or form. He'd buy merch, and actually, a lot of things he did this a lot, and this is how he made money. Merch show to show is different with Travis. His marketing team's genius. And different states have specific
like the prices and stuff with the comment, whatever.
Like New York merch blows up, LA merch blows up. So what he'd do is spend all his money on merch, like trash bags full. And with the Travis shows, they let you buy merch before the show in most cities, because they know people don't want to like buy a bunch of merch and then go into a mosh pit. And so he'd like buy, like, I've seen pictures of trash bags of merch, bring them out to wherever he could put them, like his car or someone's car, go to the show, and then right after the show, put them online and sell them. And you could double, triple
Hustle.
your money with that.
That's
Yeah.
a hustle right there. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Just flipping. Yeah.
hmm
All right, I got one more question for you, Timmy. You're about to be what, a junior or a sophomore in college?
Sophomore.
All right, what are your plans after college? Like, do you have any real idea yet? But like, you're doing all this freelance stuff. I know that us three, we all been doing freelance stuff. There's opportunities that sometimes arise that nobody can plan. But I'm not sure if you're trying to stick with that, trying to go to a legit established company, or you still have just no idea yet and just on for the ride.
Right now, I'm basically going for the ride. I love the freelance stuff, and I love kind of just living, I want to say day by day, on just rolling with the punches and just figuring things out from there. I would like myself to like be kind of like a person someone sees and like, oh, he's that kid, and like I want to entertain people, but with content I like making. I don't know what that would entail. Like I said, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. First video is gonna be June 12th, and I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna start doing work with that and hopefully make some fun videos that people can either like enjoy watching if they're interested or laugh or whatever. But I also like, obviously, like companies like Barstool, because they're such a different type of company. It's not like a generic company. Like they're just different. And I've always liked being. I don't want to be a normal 9-to-5 desk job guy.
Yeah.
I never want to be that. So.
Well, I think with something that me and you both share, that Barstool affiliation, we can't go too much into it, but the Viceroy program, that is your golden ticket. That is the one thing. So if you want to do that, just grind as much as you got.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for this thing's unbelievable down the line.
Yeah.
I think just being at 19 years old
Exactly.
and just knowing what you've accomplished. And I think that everything you've done, I don't consider sneaking in as just like, oh, he's just doing it for fun. I figure that's accomplishments. I mean,
Yeah,
that's goals.
Long
and I
con.
think, and I think that you've done so much and built a resume of like, here's all the people I've met, here's all the celebrities I met, here's all the things I've gotten into, here, and like Courtney Fallon said a couple episodes ago, and it's actually for you two guys, especially with you both being in college. Your college time, your 4 years, is where you're building your little black book of your networking, and you keep building your connections while you're in college. I know what's crazy for someone like me and GRD, who are older, who are 28, 29, 30, we're in that older range, 10 years above you guys. 10 years ago when we were in college, Twitter just was starting at that time. These social media like Instagram didn't exist. It existed not until 2012, 2013. You just didn't have what you could have today and the access. So you guys are, both of you, are 100% capitalizing on every opportunity that you get. While guys like us that are 10 years or older trying to play catch up, I'm like, wow, at 19 years old, Timmy King has already done all of this. And I'm like, I cannot wait till whatever he does in the future.
Like, I even met you guys and Corey through social media, and
yeah,
obviously we built something. It was just a random social media connection.
Because me and GRD laugh at the stuff that you do, Timmy, or we'll talk about it and some of the stuff that people do, and we'll be like, we did that shit 10 years ago, and like no one
proof.
And we have no and
No
literally
proof.
no proof. Some of the stories that we have, like, it's just, we have no proof, no photo. Like GRD might have a photo or two, like, but there's a lot of, you never record any of that stuff. You never had the Snapchat, you never had the Instagram stories. You just went out there and did them. And there's some few and far between that you might have a picture and stuff. So, and I encourage it, because I look at someone like Timmy and I'm like, that's me 10 years ago. Like that's us 10 years. I think you were, I mean, you do it to another level, though. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, well, like we're better than, like, you're doing it to a whole nother level. But it's just like, that's the shit that we used to do, and I love it. Like, I love it, and I support it 100%. Timmy, gotta let you go. Any final thoughts that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to preach?
Plug.
Really quickly say this really quick, and then I'll plug just a few people that help me out. But you just said with the you don't see it as me just like screwing around and like sneaking into places, and I like appreciate that, because I just wanted to really quickly say this. The people I've met and the work I put into this is more than just me. Oh, I'm gonna sneak into this game or sneak into this or do this or do that. I plan this out, and this is like, I focus on this, and the people I've met, the connections I made, like I wouldn't have met you guys if I didn't do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a huge part of this, and that's like kind of what kind of keeps my mind like straight.
This is why I love all of this like stuff. Like, I started going to college engineering. I don't know anything about engineering. I was born to just say stupid stuff into a microphone and just pretend I'm more important than I really am. And like along the ride, it's like you meet all these people, you have all these crazy stories. Like you're saying, you have all these stories, Babs. You have all your own separate stories. I have my own separate stories. We
Yeah.
could do tell them all. It'd be like a 10-hour show, but it'd be entertainment the whole time. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy.
mean,
And you don't get that in like just running like a college radio show for your school or something like that. Like if the people who actually apply themselves instead of going through the traditional way, I think those like are the most creative people. Because I was talking in the Ride the Wave group the other day, like I was saying, it is more impressive right now, I think, what you do in quarantine versus what you do when everything's out. Because
Yep.
nobody's doing anything right now. If you can show, hey, everyone was locked down, everybody was in their house, I did this, they're just like, I have no like choice but to respect the grind, respect the hustle.
yeah, and I just think that we all have our separate visions and goals. Like, my brain is working 1,000 miles an hour, and I try to explain it, and people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, just trust me. Like, I just see the vision. I see what it's gonna do, and this is gonna happen." And there are times when I see something and it doesn't work out, and then we talk about failing and stuff. But there's other times I see something, and then it works out, and you feel happy, and you accomplish something. Like, like an example, the taco costumes in my world, like just talking about it and then speaking into existence, and I'm like, I think this is gonna blow up. I think this is, and it did, and it works out, and then we have that now forever saved that we can use as a resume builder. And that's the same thing with you of like Stanley Cup. Like, I know this is gonna work, and this is gonna work out, and you go through the motions. That's forever going to be etched there in your resume. And you know what? It's not going to be in us three and some people out there listening is that it's not your just one glory moment. Like, you're going to keep building off of that. Now, you might not have another Stanley Cup moment like that for a while. You never know. But at the same time, that's not like the one moment you're always going to live off of. You're always just going to reinvent and be able to go out there and continue doing it. It's just adding to your story. Like in 20 years from now, you're going to have all these stories to tell your kids. And going to be like,
at this point,
unreal.
Dude, there's no like addiction better than clout, or like as soon as you get a little bit of clout, that's the hook, and then you want to do bigger and better. And I think that's what the creativity shows.
But you're having fun with that clout. It's not it's sports clout for us. Like, it's just you're having fun with it.
It's just more, hey,
like,
this is
look
another
at this
crazy
thing. Like,
story.
I mean, do you think this is try explaining this thing to people out there?
Can't wait to hear your twins are like 18. You're like, Dad, who's man on your your arm? Like, he's the 7'7" taco ball.
And it's just something like people like, I would never do something like that, this and that. To me, I'm like, dude, I want to have tattoos. I want to have sleep.
Who
Like,
cares?
eventually. I don't really care like what it looks like. I really don't. Like, I'm just having fun. Like, and it's a conversation starter. So I don't know. But June 12th, Timmy King is dropping his. We went in depth today, but visual gives you the visual of everything he went through. June 12th. Make sure you check that out. Timothy King Jr. on Instagram. You want to plug TikTok? I don't know your TikTok, Snapchat, none of that. All right. Well, Instagram.
I just want to give a shout out to. I just want to shout out like a few people, like that have kind of like a lot of people have gone into this to help you. Like, obviously you guys and GRD and all them, but like all my friends, like they know who I'm talking about, especially David and Liam. They really like kind of got me into the garden thing, and obviously my brother, Richie, Ethan, all those kids, Mike, Kyle, Dean. They go to a lot of the games with me, like Nick. I just keep on thinking people, but all of you they know who they are. And also, this is a weird shout out. This is my last one. Few of my high school teachers, I can't like say their names, but they knew about this, and I tell them everything, and they supported the hell out of it. And I thought that was always pretty cool because you're
ambitious. You're ambitious, and you have a goal, and you set your mind to it. And I think that's the right thing for a teacher to do. Is like, hey, even though it might be illegal if they think that or whatever, hey, go do it. If you think it's going to come, there's no harm in anything you're doing. Like, you're not hurting anybody. No one's like losing.
Worst case scenario, you're just walking onto a certain part of a building you can't walk on.
Yeah.
Like, that's at the end of the day, that's the only problem.
And it's not illegal to do what you're doing. It's not like you're completely trespassing high security.
Just a slap on the wrist type of thing. But
I got to go in the Timothy King suite once before, so I tell you that Timmy King is the CEO of the Garden. He has his own suite, and and everybody that you mentioned is in that. That's the suite. So, we appreciate Timmy coming on here. That's been episode 59, Boston's Big Three, presented by Ride the Wave Media. June 12th, check it out. The CEO of the Garden releasing all the information Stanley Cup Game 7 from last year. Timmy, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Start recording.